I'm Breck Parkman. Today we've come to Sugarloaf Ridge State Park, and I'd like to show you one of my favorite historic sites. We're going to take a walk up on the hill here. As an archaeologist, I've worked all over the world. I've worked in Siberia, the south coast of Peru, in Canada. I've given archaeological research papers in Russia, Darwin, Australia. But I especially love working in my home state of California, where I was a state archaeologist for many years. As an archaeologist, I mostly work with cultural resources, and I tell cultural resource type of stories about people's history. But I also love nature, and I love talking about the natural world. And right now, we're right in the middle of it, so enjoy. Arrived at Camp Butler. Welcome. There's not a lot to see here. If you look right here, you'll see a pile of bricks. That's what's left of a fireplace that was once part of the Boy Scouts cookhouse, which is no longer here. The state removed the structure in the 1950s because it was kind of an attractive nuisance. It was no longer being used. The Boy Scout troop started using this camp in 1931, and there was a cookhouse here. You can't see the cookhouse today, but back here you'll see what's left of the fireplace, the bricks from the fireplace. There's also a pad behind me, and that was where the cookhouse sat. Out in this field, it's where the kids set up their tents. Sometimes they slept under the stars. It's also where they took their meals. Just right beside the camera here, there was an elevated wooden deck. It's gone now. You can't see anything of it. But on that deck, they had lots of picnic tables, and that's where the boys and also the girls would have their meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Long gone. The camping area is just overgrown now. Again, all that remains are the bricks from the fireplace and these pads and this wonderful view looking down the valley out toward the coast. Now let me tell you how the camp got its name. Camp Butler is named after Dr. Butler, the head medical superintendent of the California State Home. Dr. Butler was at the State Home from 1918 to 1949, and it was during his overview that the camp was created. This property was already owned by the state of California as early as 1920. So in 1931, Dr. Butler decided to create a Boy Scout troop for the wards of the state. And soon after, he created a Campfire Girl troop as well. This site was developed as the camp. The kids would come up here 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in summer, and they camped right behind me here. They had their tents out. Sometimes they slept under the stars. Right over here, there was an elevated eating platform, now gone, where they took their meals. So the camp was occupied and utilized up until 1942. Shortly after the beginning of the World War II, the adult staff members and some of the older wards of the state enlisted in the military and went off to fight the war. The camp never reopened. When the war ended in 1945, for whatever reason, the decision was made not to reactivate the camp. Now, we've had a good look at the campground itself and the cookhouse. Now we're going to walk down the road, and I'm going to show you something really special. One of the special places the Boy Scouts and the Campfire Girls enjoyed. We're going to look at the swimming pond. Let's take a walk. So we've arrived at the swimming pond. Behind me, you'll see the swimming pond that was created by the Boy Scouts in 1931. Now, it doesn't look like a pond today because it's filled in with tules. But trust me, there's water out there, and if you were here in 1931 on a really hot day, you could run and jump in, and that's what the Boy Scouts did. They loved this pond. They came up here to cool off, to recreate, also to learn to swim, and they learned life-saving first aid here. It was just a really one of the landmarks of Camp Butler. Now, if you look that way, you'll see the parade ground. The parade ground was also constructed in 1931 at the same time the camp was being developed. And there's not much over there to see today. It's kind of overgrown, as you can see. But if you were to walk out in the middle of the parade ground, now overgrown with grass, you would see a foundation, a square piece of concrete with a round hole in it. And that was where the flagpole stood. And during the course of Camp Butler, there was a flag here. And every morning the scouts would get up, and after eating, they'd march down the trail They'd raise the flag. And at night they'd come back and they'd lower the flag. And during the course of the day they'd go hiking, they'd play games, and they'd come to the pond here to swim, to recreate and cool off. Camp Butler was a great place for the kids from the state home. And you look at the photographs and you can see a lot of smiling faces. That's one of the values of places like this, out in the open, out in the wilds, that people can come to get away, to find refuge, and to find respite from what troubles them. After sitting here for a while and admiring this view, I understand why the camp was built here. This camp was really loved by the kids, the wards of the state, the Boy Scouts and the Campfire Girls. Now, I haven't seen any photographs yet of the Campfire Girls, but I have looked at photographs of the Boy Scouts that were here. And in every photograph, I see kids smiling and laughing and grinning. That's important. We need places like this to come in the wilds, outside our cities, to get away where we don't hear sirens and dogs barking and horns blowing. We need to be able to hear the wind and the birds. We need to be able to see the stars at night. We need to be able to sit around a campfire like our ancestors did thousands and thousands of years. Camp Butler was an important place in the lives of these kids, irregardless of what was going on back at the state home. And, they were part of the American eugenics program. I don't know what life was like for the wards when they were at the hospital, but when they were here, they were kids, they were free, and they were happy. And it tells me that we need places like this. We need parks, we need open space, we need places that we can all come and find ourselves, be free, and be happy.